Welcome, everyone. We are the community that's gathered here this Sunday morning, and it's different than every other time because there's people sitting in different places. There's new people. There's people that have been here for a long time. There's people that have been here for no time. There's people that have been here that haven't been here for some weeks. So this is the group we are, and it's a beautiful group. So we can celebrate it and say that this is what community is. We weave in it, we weave out of it, and it's who we are. So welcome. We all have a place in this circle. So take your place. Feel the community that you need to feel. Be present to it in whatever way you need. Take from it what you need this morning. And in all the ways that is, we will be here for each other. As we gather on this first Sunday of Advent, a new season, a season that has us looking toward Christmas, a season that has us looking into our spirits for all that which we prepare for, all that we wish our spirits to be, and to simply rest in it for the time. And so as we enter that season, may we enter into it with singing, because nothing says Advent like light and like preparing to light more of it. Let's sing together. As we've joined together with our singing and our sung word, may we now join together our hearts and our intentions with our spoken words as we pray these words together. We are invited into this circle, opening to wisdom hidden in words and gestures, songs and silence, readings and reflections, meditations and symbols. Out of whatever history, from whatever we have done or failed to do, we come to seek inspiration and strengthen courage. We gather to touch what matters in our lives, in the best of our spiritual tradition, in the wisdom of our humanity, and in the revelation of the natural world. Into this time and place we come as those who seek to be open to the sacred in our midst, the simplicity of belonging and resting in what is. May it ever be so. We move. This morning, like every time we gather, we light this wick on our center candle. And the wax near that wick heats and melts. And then this liquid wax is then drawn up the wick. And the heat of the flame vaporizes and turns it into gas, this liquid wax, and it starts to break down all of these hydrocarbons of the wax and the molecules of the oxygen and the hydrogen and the carbon, and then these vaporized molecules are drawn up into the flame where they react with the oxygen from the air to create heat and light and vapor and carbon dioxide, and it's a remarkable process, and it's quite complex. And yet we call it lighting a candle. May we marvel in its beauty, in its complexity, and in the simple way we do it again and again, each time we gather. For the simple hides the complex. The simple draws us together. On this first Sunday of Advent, we likewise light our very first blue candle of the season. Today we'll call this the candle of simplicity, because all we're doing is striking a match and lighting the candle. as we move through the season of Advent toward Christmas, and as our light grows among us, may we remember the simple that draws us towards each other, the simple that helps us to live the lives we wish to live. Today, I want to ring it in a different way. I would like us to use our very best senses to hear this bowl. Can you hear it right now? I can if I put my ear in there. Can you hear something? Who else wants to hear? There's something. I could do it with a shell too, but it works with this bowl. Maybe it's the sound of my ear. I don't know. But I hear something when I put my ear in there. Now I'm going to ring this bowl, because it has a ring to it. And I want us to do something. Right when you think you can't hear it anymore, I want you to listen even harder. I want to see how long we can hear this bowl for. It might be longer than you think. So keep listening, okay? Now I have to get a really good ring. So let's try it. I think it stopped. It rung for a long time. Now this time, if you want, you can. I'm going to ring it again, but you come and bring your ears here. Bring your ears. Now, why are we listening for how long it takes? I want to explain. Sometimes we forget that things are happening that we don't notice. So when we notice things, it's amazing how much stuff is going on. This is just one little sound of one little bowl, but I bet we could notice things with our eyes and with our noses, with touching. I bet we could notice things with all of our senses, and I bet you, if we are aware of things, there are a lot of things going on that are amazing in our world. Do you ever see something under the snow and you just think, what? There's still like a green piece of grass under there. I noticed something like that the other day. I thought, there's green under the snow still. And I had to stop to look at it. So there's amazing things if we stop, and if we look, and if we use our senses. So we're going to listen to the bowl one more time. You can put your ear as close as you like, but if you touch your ear to the bowl, it'll stop the sound. So we'll get as close as we can without touching, and maybe we'll hear it for longer this time. Ready?
I think it stopped.
Me too. I think so too. But you heard it for longer this time than last time. We got up really close and we really noticed it. That's amazing. So, I want you to do something for me. I want you to remember at weird times during the day today or tomorrow or whenever, just any time. Do you eat a sandwich for lunch?
No.
Do you eat something for lunch? What do you eat for lunch? Oh, that's a hard question. Okay, I have a better one. Do you ever go get a drink of water from the sink? Okay, everyone does that, right? Okay, whenever you get a drink of water from the sink, I want you to just stop and see what you hear and you see, and if there's anything amazing. It doesn't have to be when you get a drink of water. It could be any time. But I said, stop at weird times. Well, that's a weird time to stop, when you get a drink of water. You could also do it when you get in the car. You could do it, what's another weird time?
When you're eating lunch.
When you're eating lunch. That's totally weird. And
When you're going to the park.
when you're going to the park, yes. Do you brush your teeth?
Yeah.
Okay, well, when you brush your teeth, stop. And see if you can notice something. And use your senses. And think, this world is amazing, because I didn't notice that before. This is a great thing to do, not only when you're small, but when you're big and old like me. You can stop and notice stuff. Noticing things is the way we can be in awe. We can say, and awe and wonder is an amazing way to live. It puts us in the seasonal spirit, I think. Gets us ready in a very simple way. So, our first reading that we have this morning is from the Christian tradition, from the Gospel of Luke in chapter 12, where Jesus is teaching those around him about awareness, about living life in a spiritual, deep way. Jesus said to his disciples, I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, or about your body, what you will wear. For life is more than food, and the body is more than clothing. Consider the ravens. They neither sow nor reap. They have neither storehouses nor barn, and yet they have enough food. And can any of you, by worrying, add a single hour to the span of your life? If then you're not able to do so small a thing as that, why do you worry about the rest? Consider the lilies, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin their clothes, yet even Solomon, in all his glory, was not clothed like one of these. This is a teaching from the first century Jesus tradition. May we find wisdom for our living.
The Peace of Wild Things by Wendell Berry. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting for their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. These are poetic words by a contemporary writer. May we find wisdom for our living.
Sherlock Holmes and his sidekick Watson go on a camping trip. After sharing a few glasses of wine, they retire for the night. And at about 3 a.m., Holmes nudges Watson and says, "Watson, look up into the sky and tell me what you see." And Watson says, "I see millions of stars." Holmes asks, "And what does that tell you?" Watson replies, "Well, astronomically, it tells me there are millions of galaxies and potentially billions of planets. Astrologically, it tells me that Saturn is in Leo. Theologically, it tells me that whatever made all of this is beyond human comprehension. Horologically, it tells me it's about 3 a.m. Meteorologically, it tells me that we have a beautiful day tomorrow. What does it tell you, Holmes?" Holmes retorts, "Watson, you idiot. Someone stole our tent." Might be funnier if I had Benedict Cumberbatch's accent, but there's something to be said for the simple answer, the simple solution, and something to be said for having some manner to keep our daily busyness, craziness, sometimes hectic lives as simple as we can. And I think the spiritual drive towards simplicity has been the age-old, long-endured process of doing that, keeping ourselves sane when we ourselves and the world around us is going crazy. I asked my sister, who is a homicide detective with the Edmonton Police, I asked her her experience of the relationship between truth and simplicity. She doesn't get questions like that very often, but interestingly, her response was this, that a real-life event should have a copious amount of detail. It should be complex, because our lives are complex. It should have many shades. She says it's her job as an investigator to sort out the complexity to find out what's relevant. And she had to say, too, that they're very good at doing that. They're very good at hearing the complex details and sorting what's relevant and what isn't. She tells me that fabrications in the interview room are often oversimplifications, so that the lies can be easily kept track of, she gathers. You don't want to get caught in a lie that's too complex, so you make it simple. But she says there's often no messy, real-life, complicated realities in a lie. The truth is usually somewhere between the copious details and the overly simple. I'm thankful for her wisdom. It's also a goal of the sciences, as it turns out, and many of you who know me have known that I've shown clips of Neil deGrasse Tyson in the past. He's perhaps everyone's newfangled new favorite astrophysicist, but I think for a reason, because he's got wisdom to share, and he does so passionately. So I want to share with you, as another piece of wisdom, about a 4.5-minute clip of Neil deGrasse Tyson talking to Stephen Colbert, which also makes it all the more interesting. I like what he says, what Neil deGrasse Tyson says about what really moves him. It's the simple things, but it's not because they're simple, it's because their immense complexity can be shared and stated so simply. I think he recognizes and calls us to an awareness not that things are simple, but that our world is entirely intricate and complicated, and that we are able to find and honor beauty and simplicity within it anyways. And if we can tap into that reality that he describes, the reality that we're all made of the same stuff, or what have you, what better and beautiful spiritual principle is that gets echoed in so many religious traditions, the ones that say, we are of one being. We are all of one substance. And what is spirituality other than the exploration and celebration of that which connects us, each to each other? Spiritual realities help us to understand our world. They have the power to change the way we speak to each other, the way we act with each other, the way we understand our relationship to everything and every being. And that reality has the power to transform us from the inside out and to make a difference in what we value and how we go about our everyday living. So I can't really understate that enough. I can't overstate it, that there's no better statement than to recognize that which connects us as a great spiritual truth. And perhaps keeping on the science theme, maybe there's no better statement than that from Einstein himself that says everything should be made as simple as possible, but not simpler. Perhaps in very different ways, the first century writers and poets who spoke the spiritual words that would eventually become our Christian writings articulated these realities, these same realities in my heart and mind, in a first century way, as opposed to a 21st century astrophysical kind of way. The expression of simplicity in the life of a raven, eating what it will eat without a worry towards storing up their leftovers, but who will make their way day to day to find enough food. The expression of simplicity in the life of a lily, not fussing in front of the mirror, worrying about what they'll wear and if their belt matches their shoes and if they really should have gone to that Black Friday sale to get that matching whatever. But who make their way day by day more beautiful than the richest and best dressed among us. We might, when we make time enough, when we simplify our calendars enough, be able to notice those small reminders of just how simple the complex might be. Yes, when we eat our breakfast, brush our teeth, and take a drink of water, we can stop and notice those things. Because otherwise, the simple passes us by. Like Wendell Berry, oh, how I love the poet Wendell Berry. To come into the presence of beauty in nature wherever we find it, to come into the peace of wild things, and for a time rest in the grace of the world. It's as true in art as in science, as in police work, as in life. And it's the season we've now been thrust into, which comes year by year, every time we trek around this side of the sun. With carols already ringing and Santa's arriving and trees a-trimming, we're invited to enter into this season with a tiny bit of care, with a wee bit of slow movement. One, because it's a long time till Christmas, really. And another, because I think we can stop and pause and notice the simple. For those of us that find simplicity at this time of year elusive, it's no wonder. Because in some ways it's like looking, and I thank Ian Lawton for this image, it's like looking for your glasses. You can't find them when you don't have them. Oh, I can't even do that. You can't find your glasses because you don't have your glasses on. You can't find peace and simplicity if you see it as outside of yourself. You're looking without the benefit of the very thing you're looking for. Wisdom tells us that simplicity might be best seen really as a priority of choices that go on inside of us. If I keep my values clear in my mind and in my heart, I can deal with any complexity. Because I can say, how does this complicated thing I'm looking at, dealing with, wrestling over, how does this impact? How do my values impact that? What do I find that's most important? And once I'm clear about that, then how can I look at this differently? The more I accept the complexities of life and stop expecting them to be otherwise, and the more I start continually making choices that support my values, that's a different way of looking at it, and it's a lot less daunting. I can work toward a simple life that way. As Tyson says, I can admire the beauty of a complex thing stated simply. Perhaps like Wendell Berry, we need to just tilt our heads towards the wild things, take in the night sky, feel our place in the miracle of it all, let our heads lower back to the reality in front of us, and we might find that this simplicity of mind will fall into place like glasses falling gently back into position. I think we might find that in our waiting for Christmas, we're finding what we can eliminate in order that we find the essence, the essential, the simple of what's unflinchingly important to us. That's what a value is. Something unflinchingly and unfailingly important to us that we would dare not lose, that we would dare not forget. And in waiting for Christmas, we might find that eliminating the extra in order to get what we unfailingly would not want to lose will in itself draw us into the simple. And may it all be for us a spiritual endeavor. It has been for generations, and it shall be for us. We honor this time with a time of awareness, a time of intention, and a time of prayer. Let us take that pose now. This winter day bids us to give thanks for life. May our hearts continue to focus upon the essential and not our preoccupations. In childlike delight, may we savor the incomparable beauty of our time and of our place in the cosmos. May we not miss the moments by complaining, by looking too far ahead to what may come tomorrow. Deeper than our challenges lies our soul's wonder. Why not allow some new light to shine upon us as we grow our gratitude toward life and possibility? Why not let light find its way through the cracks of our defenses, through our ability to complicate, through our failure to notice? May the light of awe and wonder be ours, even as we recognize it in each other. As those who relish in the beauty of life, as those who value the depth of our human journey together, as those who experience and discover anew, we pray. May it be so in so many ways. This light that burns in such simplicity, that betrays its atomic complexity. May we go in the knowledge that we have a light to share, the light of the cosmos that's within us, the light of spirit which is in us, between us, and around us. We have it to share in simple ways. May we go and do this in whatever way we can. May this season be the start of sharing what is most crucial to us, the thing we would dare not lose. In simplicity we go.